From New York, New York to San Francisco, California. From Portland, Oregon to Miami, Florida. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Dean and Doty. Welcome to episode 30, everybody.
Howdy.
Hello.
30.
30? I thought it was 29.
Howdy.
The big 3-0.
Wow.
30.
This week, Christian brought up something, and he wasn't able to be on tonight with us. His dog is not doing good, so he had to go home and take care of that. So we hope everything works out there. But we will miss Christian this week. Christian brought up something that we were going to all talk about together. So I'm going to continue on with that this week about sacrifices. And we all make them. You guys, we work all day here at the office, the terminal. Mike, you're working all day. And then for the last 30 weeks, we've stayed after every night or once a week to do this show. We do it. It's a sacrifice. It's a part of it's to keep in touch with our drivers, to get good information out there to other drivers and people that watch the show about the trucking market, about how we do things. It's and it's a sacrifice. It takes a couple hours. It's dark when we get home, so those are some sacrifices we make. Jim Mackey, Ray, Kevin, and Nate, you guys sacrifice a lot. Sometimes you don't go home when you were planning on going home. You may stay out an extra day or 2 or 3, or Ray may stay out an extra 5 minutes. But I'm curious, why do we do those things? Why do you guys, Ray, when you decide you're going to be home on a Friday and then you say, I'll just stay out, I'll just run another one and get home Tuesday. What drives you? What makes you feel that way?
Money.
The short, sweet answer.
Yeah.
Some must
Well,
die,
and
some
that's
others
part of
can
it.
live.
You sacrificing seeing your daughters and your wife so that you can bring in more money. Kevin, Nate, I imagine it's probably similar for you guys. I know you've stayed out when you've planned on being home.
I've done it a few times.
Yeah. And then Tom sends you to California when you thought you were going to Texas and turning.
Oh, you mean like
Sometimes
Friday?
there's just
Yeah.
You got to find that balance too.
There is a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons Christian wanted to bring it up too is we talk a lot about, on his fleet with his occupancy reports, which I really like. When he went over last week, when you got so many days that were in red on that map he had where the driver wasn't occupying the truck. And we all talked about it and we were questioning how that guy could make it. It's, sometimes to occupy the truck, I wish Christian was here because he would tell you. I think it was 86%, wasn't it, Mike? If you occupy it 86% of the week, you're guaranteed success. And so that's the sacrifice, that you make being away from your family, being on the road. AC on our fleet does it. He pretty much gets home every weekend, but when he needs to, he'll sacrifice and he'll stay out. He'll tell Ian, I'm going to run over the weekend, this weekend. And, we try and put, more revenue per day for that 2-week stretch that he's out.
Yeah. He might be willing to sacrifice, going out of his comfort zone, whether it's pulling something heavier than he wants to, or whether it's something that's a little bit longer than what he usually runs. If he needs to make the money, he'll make those changes. Yeah.
Joel sacrifices every week. He tries to book cheap loads, and every now and then he finds something that pays good. Right. And he sacrifices. I'm just messing with you, Joel.
Still in business. Hey.
Right.
For now.
And if anybody doesn't know, Joel and I have a more than a decade-long history, and we do go back and forth like that. So trust me, there's a lot of stuff that he makes fun of me for.
Not enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I think that's pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
90-10.
Slam the boss.
And anyway, we can get into that. I got some questions about this kind of sacrifices you guys make out there daily on the road as a driver. But joining us, as always, Ray in the house, Jim Mackey, Kevin Lewis, Nate Garner. We've got trucking news with Ian. He's over there right now. He's on screen.
Hello.
I'm looking over at his
Face reveal.
his
really
monitor, and all I see
More
is
like a beard reveal.
yeah. All I see on his monitor is ships lighting up on the coast. We'll get into that with some news of the Wide World of Sports with Joel Howle. And man, what a day in Cleveland sports history today. Guys, I got to tell you, I mean,
NFL history, really.
we all love football around here, except for Ian.
I was like, is it really history?
But
Yeah.
I've been on my
Drama.
so there's a local, the Land on Demand app. I listen to AM 850 here in Cleveland. I've had that on my phone all day at my desk listening to what's going on, the breaking news with the Browns. I don't know, Mike, did you see any of that with OBJ yesterday?
No, I haven't. No.
Odell Beckham Jr. He's the prima donna wide receiver on our team, and it's never really clicked in 3 years. His dad, instead of addressing things privately with the team or the quarterback, his dad puts an 11-minute video on YouTube.
See, he was open.
Or on his
He was open.
Instagram.
Wait.
11-minute video
That's not normal?
of him not getting the ball thrown to him. 11-minute video of him being wide open and not getting the ball thrown to him. That's a really bad way to
Dish your coach.
yeah, and your quarterback. I mean, it's horrible. And
Was he wide open though for 11 minutes?
Well, but
Did it
that's
just
the-
show him wide open for
he
11
was
minutes?
he was, but you got to understand if they're you don't know the situation of the game. You know,
Yeah.
if a play is
Yeah, of
called
course.
this way, you could look at Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. There's always going to be guys on the field that get open. It just depends on which way they were planning on going with the ball. You know, so it was just a big backhanded slap in the face to the team, the coach, the quarterback. And so we've been waiting all day because they didn't trade him. Yesterday was the trade deadline, and they didn't trade him. They tried. There was no one was wanting him, I guess, or couldn't come to a deal. So the the Browns told him not to come to practice today.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Send him down to Tampa.
he probably
That's
will come
exactly
there.
what I said.
You can have it.
Send him down to
there.
Tampa.
He's either going to
and,
end up there or the Chiefs.
Yeah, he'll be
Well,
down
because
there
here's the
with.
thing, they won't tolerate it. You know, Brady won't tolerate it. Look we got what's his name that hasn't caused. You don't hear nothing from him.
Antonio
Of course,
Brown.
he's at the end of his career.
He hasn't. And Brady was the one that brought him in, got him a life coach and everything. Was like, look, if you're
Super Bowl
He lived with Tom Brady,
A
too.
life coach.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it wasn't. Yeah, he Brady's the
They're
reason
like
he's here, but
BFFs.
Brady's the also the reason why he isn't causing any.
Well, look,
issues.
And we'll throw in a Super Bowl ring.
Everybody knows I'm
Yeah.
a Browns fan. Zach's a Browns fan. Joel's a Browns fan. You know,
Bandwagon.
I gotta tell you, bandwagon. I gotta tell you though, when you dish your quarterback, I don't care. You know, the Browns are 4-4. That's the time when your team needs to come together and not, someone causing a riff where you want to be traded. And I mean, that just takes you nowhere. And I don't know.
Yeah, you got to keep that stuff in house.
In-house, yeah. Now it's all over national news all day yesterday, all day today,
All over Facebook.
all over
everywhere.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so that's been happening in sports here. Also, I know Christian's not with us, but the Jets. Did you guys see that Jets? So their rookie quarterback went down the week before, and what's the guy's name? Joel White.
Yeah.
His name
Mike White.
Mike White steps in. Nobody knows who he is, or I don't even know where he came from. I've never heard of him.
You're going with them again this week.
I did go with him this week. I mean, he looked good. He even
he
caught
really
a
did.
touchdown. They did some kind of trick play, and he ran in the end zone, and they threw it to him. He caught one.
Anybody need Wilson?
So I don't know. It's been a fun last 7 days of football, and all the drama. It's really starting to get dramatic in the league.
We'll talk about that.
Oh, also
Yeah.
the college football playoff. Joel, did you get the top 10 on that this week or no?
Yeah, I did. Where the AP coaches poll, but the playoff kind of changed. But we still have another 4 weeks to go.
Yeah, I was surprised that Oregon was ranked. What were they, 4?
Yeah.
And Ohio State was 5.
Cincinnati's out.
Cincinnati was 6. Who was 3?
Still Oklahoma.
No, Oklahoma was 8.
Well, it's
and-
Alabama then. They got the nod. Or they went to 2.
They went to 2. Georgia was 1. who was 3? I forget. But, yeah, it was.
Michigan State. I got a different lineup. I'll go over that.
Well, that's the CFP. That's the first playoff ranking. So the AP poll's different.
Yeah,
that AP poll
that's what I got.
doesn't put you in. That's the one they put out every Tuesday. That doesn't put you in the playoff.
We got another month.
Yeah, it'll change, but it was pretty interesting. They had that reveal last night. So, anyway, Joel, why don't you?
Sir.
Yeah, since we're talking about it, let's get on into some sports. Tell me what you know this week.
Football.
Going into some sports. Well, I know this right here. Being from Atlanta, we'll get into this. Congratulations, Atlanta Braves. They only won their
Don't they do the
second
chant?
Yeah, the left loves it. Tomahawk chop. They got the blessing from the Cherokee Indians of North Carolina, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
But the Atlanta Braves did win their second World Championship since they moved to Atlanta. Last one, 1995. They defeated Houston Astros last night. I know that breaks your heart, Ray. 4-2 in a best of 7. We don't know how those two teams are going to look at the beginning of the season. We got talks of several players on Houston looking to go into free agency. I know the Braves, Freddie Freeman was on the market. Of course, the Bravos would love to keep him in town. It's going to be very expensive. MVP honors go to Jorge Soler. Hit 3 home runs in the series. 2 of them were major, giving the Braves the lead for keeps in Game 4 and Game 6. Congratulations. They picked him up with 3 other players in August. So these 4 players they got off waivers at the trade line really gave them the victory in the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, weren't they like third place in their division?
Eddie
back in the
Rosario,
summer?
he was with the Indians.
Yeah,
They
and
got him off the. I don't know how the Indians got rid of him, but
that was an amazing job winning the World Series the way they did.
They did a
Gotta
great
hand it to
job.
them.
They lost their pitcher, broke his leg.
Yeah,
Nearly lost their pitcher last night. Got his ankle stepped on, but the city of Atlanta can exhale now.
And they
more
beat a
choking.
bunch of they beat a bunch of cheaters too. So
Yep. So,
that's right.
Ray, I know you're your boys, but moving on to
Altuve?
football. Better luck next year, guys. Over in the NFL, in the AFC East,
Well, you gotta rub
in the
that in.
standings. Sorry.
What'd you say, Ray?
What was that?
I said he's rubbing it in about the boys.
Oh, you said that in Spanish. So I heard.
He could say it in Spanish.
Hey, you know what?
No, it
they
was
get the
in
next
English.
5 months off. They're all millionaires. I can't feel that bad for them. Moving over to football in the NFL standings. In the AFC East, Bills still standing tough at 5-2 over in the North. The Ravens coming off the bye, 5-2. In the South, Tennessee is 6-2, and out west, Las Vegas leads at 5-2 over in the NFC East. Dallas leads the division at 6-1 in the North.
Dallas is looking good with Dak. I know Dak was out last week. He'll be back though, right? Next week. It was something minor.
I think he's going to be starting, but their second string
He looked
is
good.
on standby.
Yeah.
Yep. And over in the North, Green Bay not playing with Aaron Rodgers this
Ooh,
weekend.
Mike, did you hear that news?
What's that?
The Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers, in the beginning of the season in training camp, I saw it today. There's an interview where they asked him about if he was vaccinated, and he said yes, he was vaccinated. And then he went on to say that it's
He said
personal
he was
decision.
immunized.
Yeah, he was talking about being vaccinated. I was immunized. He
was
said,
the flu shot.
and he goes, "There's people on the team that I understand that it's personal and they don't get vaccinated or they're not vaccinated, but we'll work through it." But he claimed right on in a press conference that he was vaccinated. Today he got tested positive. He tested positive for the coronavirus, and they said he is unvaccinated. So he lied at the beginning of the season.
Or they couldn't find his card.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, he's out this week.
Well, it changes things because here in the NFL, and I don't know all the rules, but there are protocols. If you're an unvaccinated player, I'm going to tell you right now, that's why the Patriots got rid of Cam Newton. because he was not vaccinated and wasn't going to get vaccinated, and they cut him.
Kyrie.
They didn't say it, but we all knew it. Kyrie said, look, this isn't a place to talk about it or choose, but I think it's funny when, Mr. I'm the best quarterback in the NFL gets, busted lying when he was saying that he was vaccinated and he wasn't. Or he was,
It's like Rafael Palmeiro telling everyone he never did steroids in the grand jury.
Well, the thing is, so Doty, what happens is if you're not vaccinated in the NFL, you can't. There's a lot of things you can't do. Like you can't be in meetings with the team. You gotta. They keep you separated. You can't eat with the team. There's a whole bunch of different protocols you have to follow, but he wasn't following those.
But don't they? If the NFL isn't doing mandatory vaccinations and they don't have like a protocol in place where they just get tested so they can be.
Well, they do. But listen, they made an agreement with the Players Association before the start of the season that if you're not vaccinated, here's that was an agreement between players and management and teams. Yeah. So
gotcha.
This is he clearly violated all that. We were speculating today what kind of fines and different things will happen, but he's out sick.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there are 5 teams in the NFC with one loss.
They're one of them.
So Jordan Love, time to step up. He'll be replacing Aaron this weekend. Over in the South,
for a couple weeks,
maybe for the rest of the year.
Yeah, who knows?
Aaron's hair will be even longer by then. In the South, Tampa Bay stands at 6-2, coming off their loss to the Saints. We shall see how that goes. In the West, Arizona and the Rams both lead the division at 7-1. Rams seem to be the hot hand right now.
Yeah, and they just got Von Miller from the Broncos.
Von Miller, so they're going in the right way.
Nikki
Detroit.
Bissett was pretty upset. She couldn't talk when I called her that day they traded Von Miller from the Broncos.
She's been upset ever since they lost to the Browns.
I know.
Kid Nikki. Detroit, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington with the bye this weekend. Over in the NCAA, going off the AP Top 10 college coaches poll, number 10, Wake Forest at North Carolina this weekend at noon. Number 9, Michigan at home against Indiana this weekend, 7:30 p.m. game. The 8th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at home against the Navy Midshipmen. That's a 3:30 afternoon game. Number 7, Oregon at Washington. That is a 7:30 game this Saturday evening. Washington Cougars. I was trying to think of their nickname. Number 6, Ohio State at Nebraska at noon this Saturday. Number 5, Michigan State at Purdue, 3:30 this Saturday. Number 4, Oklahoma is idle, will be at Baylor next Saturday the 13th. Number 3, Alabama at home against LSU. That's a 7 p.m. start. Number 2, Cincinnati at home against Tulsa, 3:30 kickoff. And number 1, Georgia at home against Missouri at noon start this Saturday.
So here's the difference, Joel. I just pulled it up. The top 10 for the college football playoff is Notre Dame 10, Wake Forest 9, OU, Oklahoma 8. So Oklahoma slid. Michigan 7, Cincinnati slid. Weren't they 2 or 3?
They still are. Well, they're 2 in the AP.
Yeah, but they're 6 in the playoff
I
pool.
wouldn't listen to that right
Ohio
now.
State 5, Oregon 4, Michigan State 3, Alabama 2, and Georgia 1.
See, Alabama and Georgia are going to meet.
But that's the CFP ranking is. This is the first reveal of it this week, yesterday. So I don't know it'll change, but that's how you get in the playoffs. So
Yeah, a lot of teams controlling their own destiny.
yeah,
Just win out.
and Ohio State has to play 2 top 10 teams in the remaining
They
schedule.
still got to play.
the Michigan and Michigan State.
Yeah,
So if they win out, they're going to be in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It'll pan out.
Yeah, right now they're outside looking in.
Yep. All right, so that's it for football. Over in basketball, week 1 underway in the East. Chicago and Miami lead at 6-1, and out west, Utah and Golden State lead at 6-1 in the NHL East. It's Florida Panthers and Carolina on top of their respective divisions, and out west, St. Louis Blues and Edmonton Oilers on top of theirs. So Kumar, I heard we have a MMA type of weekend
do.
lined up.
Big weekend.
Do you have anything on that?
Yeah. So UFC 268, it will be happening this weekend in Madison Square Garden.
Kevin Lewis will be there. He's wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm his manager.
Kevin and Nate, tag team.
That's right.
Off the top ropes. Here comes Kevin.
The Barbarian and Black Bart. Hey.
Oh my!
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I was talking about the real league, but now back to the fake league.
All right, boys.
Sorry.
So the main event will be between Colby Covington and welterweight champ Kamaru Usman.
Kofi Kingston.
And that's a fight I've been waiting for a while. I think this will be their second fight. They fought, I believe, last year.
Who won?
Kamaru Usman won.
His name's Kumar?
Almost. Kamaru.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a pretty good fight. Both Kamaru Usman, he's probably one of the best welterweights of all time. Colby Covington, he has a gas tank that just goes forever. He never runs out of energy.
You hear that, Ray? He's got a gas tank. Goes for
Ray's at the junkyard looking for a gas
Yeah,
tank.
his is
right.
cracked.
Fuel tank right now.
Well, you should hit up Colby.
Wrong
He
type
has a
of gas
very
tank.
large one. Yeah. So Colby, like, he won broke a record a few fights ago for like most amount of punches. It was like over 100 in like the first period.
You landed
Do you
him?
not want to fight him?
They weren't really like super hard. He landed a lot, but they were mostly just like, keeping the other guy busy, keeping a fist in his face the whole time.
Yes.
And then some other notable fights from there are Wylie Zhang against the women's strawweight champ Rose Namajunas. I'm a big Namajunas fan. She's awesome, so I hope she wins.
She's the one in the Corona commercials, right?
I'm not sure.
What's the weight for
Nunez
straw?
or
Nunez?
Nunez.
Oh,
it's a different-
Namajunas.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
different person.
80 pounds soaking wet,
Yeah.
straw weight.
Yeah, pretty much. But they fought before. Rose lost to Zhang their first fight. So this will be their second fight, and hopefully Rose can keep her belt against Zhang. And then the next fight is Justin Gaethje against Michael Chandler. That's going to be an excellent one. They're both brawlers and always exciting fights. And then also in boxing, there's a big fight between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant for the undisputed super middleweight championship, which basically means they're going to Canelo Alvarez wants to unite all the belts. There are like 4 different boxing divisions, and so far Canelo has beaten Callum Smith for the WBA and the WBC titles, and then he beat Billy Joe Saunders last May for the WBO belt. And so now all that's left is the I don't even have it written down. The IFB middleweight belt, which Caleb Plant currently has. So if that happens, then Canelo Alvarez will be the first middleweight super champ who unified all 4 belts. So it's a pretty good weekend for fighting.
That Plant was doing an interview today and said that Alvarez was there talking about his mama. And
yeah, they're not getting along too well.
all right, should make for a pretty good fight, huh?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think they got in a little brawl at a press conference
that's
too.
okay. Should
So.
talk about his mama. Huh?
And there you have it, sports fans and MMA fans. So, Mike, let's. I wrote down some definitions. There's
Wait,
several.
hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Did we skip the pick'ems?
Oh,
Yeah, we did.
Joel, you
We
didn't.
definitely did.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
Well, I didn't win this week, so I guess it doesn't.
Well,
I'm out. I think.
Ray, you need a little help. Do you need a little help with that gas tank? I got some news for you.
Bring
You
it, Joe. Bring it.
Ray, you won.
That's his second win too.
Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
He
So
said,
there's,
really?
there's only one more week, Ray, and you're tied with Berkey at 2 wins apiece.
Wow, you
All
can't
right.
be serious.
One more, and we'll get you a gas tank. This is
Are the
for
winnings
4
enough to buy a new gas tank?
Yeah, it's about 400 and some bucks, 440 bucks.
Oh, that's about halfway there.
It's
Get you a
gonna be
hubcap.
It's gonna be between you and Berkey. I don't see how Yeah, one more
Anybody
week,
else,
no
yeah.
one can get them. So,
Wait, who else has one?
well, wait a
one
minute
win?
though. If
We'll
Ray,
do a three-way tie. Let's go to
Christian
week
has a win,
Okay.
and who else? Joel has one win. Joel has one win.
Joel has one.
I have a win, don't I?
Burke, Christian, and
Kumar.
Kumar.
Oh.
So
Kumar has a
actually,
win.
yeah, next week could be a three-way tie if
Wow,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
either Ray, Burke, or whoever whoever else has one win can sneak into this.
Yeah.
And then we'll come up with a tiebreaker. We haven't figured that out
Questions
yet.
with Kumar.
Super sudden death.
Questions.
One
with
point.
Kumar.
That's crazy.
Maybe
Still
this
can't
week,
believe it.
Joel, you should have anyone with one win, or Ray and Berkey who have 2 wins. Have them write down their
Arm wrestling.
the score of the what's the last game of the week, the Monday night game.
Yeah, over under or something.
Get them to write down the total of the scores of the Monday night game. So if you thought it was going to be 21-30,
All right.
that's 51.
Yeah.
Do that, and then if there is a tie, whoever is closest to the number, whether you're over or under,
Kind
whoever's
of like a
closest to it
football
wins.
putt.
Yeah, yeah.
Got the Bears Pittsburgh
So
game.
Joel will do that
Okay.
tomorrow. Everybody that has a point or 2 points, Joel, give them a call tomorrow and get their over/under total for
All right.
Monday night.
Calling you at 3 in the morning.
There you go.
Yeah.
For a lumper. Kumar, what's a lumper? Do you remember?
It's
Lump-
a service to put or take one load and move it to another truck, right? From one truck to
Not
another.
necessarily.
Not a truck.
Basically, unloaders are a loader.
Person on the dock who's going to unload your freight.
That's
Set it
And
on the dock.
it might not even be a
Okay.
From a
truck.
third party.
Like, think about it. He's putting the load. He's putting your pallets on his back, and he's lumping it into the building.
Gotcha.
It says
That was him with the
It
desk
says-
this morning.
it
That's
says Steve's.
Kumar. Go ahead.
So Steve's. It says Steve. No, I was just gonna say it says Steve's that unload you and then take your money.
Yeah, right.
Keep your load locks.
So that's the third or fourth time we've asked Kumar in 30 episodes what a lumper is, and he still hasn't gotten it right.
I'll get
What's
it
the
right.
most? What's
Ask
the
me
most
now.
in it? What's the most any of y'all seen for a lumper?
I've seen. I think the highest I've seen, Ian. We've
We've had
seen
around.
800.
Yeah, it was around $1,000.
Okay, I knew. I've seen 800.
I was gonna say I think I've seen around 800 before.
Yeah, I have too on the
crazy.
East
No,
Coast.
I've had to
Absolutely.
pay 800 before.
Yeah, I think it
Really?
was you, Jim. I'm thinking about that had an
Maybe.
800.
It might have been.
Yeah. I don't
No,
know
it
where
was it was before I got in with you guys. I had
Oh,
a
okay.
Rick and Benkaiser load I took to Jewel Foods in Chicago. It was like $850, something like
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
And they probably ate up your entire clock too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You talk about sacrifice. You sacrifice time at these shippers and receivers.
Yep.
But the lumpers, you wait around. You're unloaded. You can see, your scale in your truck when you're unloaded. Pretty much, you can feel them back there, so you know when
Yeah.
you're unloaded. And then you're waiting 4
Hours
hours for
sometimes.
your paperwork
Yeah.
for them to count it, for them to say, oh, there's 3 boxes missing that they're not going to do nothing about anyway, but notate the BOL. Isn't there an easier way to notify the shipper? Because it's not on us when they're missing something anyway.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like they hold you up 3-4 hours to count the product.
Wow.
that. Yeah, well,
I will say that
a lumper,
$900 lumper is a big deal back in the 1940s.
in defense of the lumber, though, I will say there was like 120 different items on that load.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it did take them a while. I mean, I'll agree with that, but
I think it's a lot of union cities that have, union food warehouses and stuff. I know Cleveland's like that. There's, it's a big union city. So the lumper services, it's part of their union deal. Sacrifice, the act of giving up something that you want to keep, especially in order to get or do something else or to help someone. And there's a couple different definitions. I think that's the one that is most fitting for us. The other one was a person or animal that is killed in a sacrifice to a deity. As soon as I mentioned sacrifice this morning, Ian was thinking, are we putting a lamb on an altar, or what are we doing here?
I mean, that's usually what my sacrifices are like. So
Roll the bunt.
But since we just had the World Series, also a bunt in baseball that allows a runner to advance one base
Oh, yeah.
while the batter is put out. So that's a sacrifice too.
Isn't it a Creed song also? Never mind.
Yeah, my
My
sacrifice. It was
Except
Joel
released
would
in
know that.
2002.
Joel would know
Yeah,
that.
Ian's playing it every day. Right?
So, Ray, and you guys, whoever wants to go first, but what are some of the things as a driver that we've sacrificed or you've sacrificed to become successful to get where you guys are? Because you guys are all, Kevin, Jim, Ray, and Nate, you guys all do really well, and not just a flash in the pan. You've been doing really well for a long time. What are some of the things that have, you've sacrificed that have put you in a better position, that have helped you become successful?
I would say, especially the first year or two of business, I think the biggest sacrifice is just running as hard as you can and trying to stay out as long as you can, because the revenue that you need to have put away for breakdowns is probably the key right there. And if you can't do that first year or so, then you can really get into a bind. And so that first sacrifice is going to be family time, obviously, in my opinion. That's going to be my biggest sacrifice, because that's what I did the first. And me, whenever I ran the first 2 years with you, Russell, I stayed out. I ran hard. I ran real hard.
Ray put himself. Ray came to us out of the oil fields, and he put himself into a position to be successful today. He is successful, and he worked really hard and stayed gone. And I remember. Now you've kind of got it a little bit easier, Ray, and that's great because you've planned it and worked to get there. But in those plans was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of that, giving up that home time. Ray's got 3 daughters. I know his family really well. He missed a lot. So did I. I missed a lot with my sons when I was on the road. Matter of fact, Zach mentioned the other day when we were talking about the beards and the beard contest, that I had a longer beard once when he said I went to dinner with you and Nate and Matt, and I kind of remembered that. I was like, oh, I forgot. This was long before Zach worked here. I was on the road, and I'd swing through Ohio on a load, usually going to the East Coast, and it was basically, hey, guys, pick me up at the truck stop. Let's go get something to eat, and then drop me back off so I can keep going. Those were sacrifices to get where I'm, to where we are today. What about you, Kevin? Nate?
I mean, I'd say definitely the home time and being away from the kids.
Yeah, it plays a lot. It's a big price to pay, but if you do it and you plan it right in the later years when you're doing this, you can be set up really nice.
Well, I was going to say it was harder for me with because when both of my boys were born, I was already kind of doing this, so I just didn't stop. But then when my daughter was born, I was at home just about every night for the first 5 years of her life.
Right, because you were running mail and stuff, right?
Yeah, and then coming over here, I mean, it changed, and it's been a lot harder, I'd say, with me, with her, leaving her behind.
She was used to you
more than
being
anything.
there.
She was so used to me being there. I mean, it's getting easier, but she still, I mean, even this morning when I left, she got up after I left and went looking for me and realized I'd already left. So
yeah,
it's still hard.
Oh yeah, it's tough for sure. I anytime I got close to the Buckeye State, it was like, man, I want to stop. And sometimes you don't have time. Just
it's always easier the further away from home you are. It's always easier to not think about it and stay out. The closer
when you get
to
close.
home is the more you can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
Well, when I was on the road, if I ran a load to Orlando or Tampa or something, if I wasn't planning on coming home, I wouldn't even come to the house. And I'm, 70 miles from Orlando and maybe 30 from Tampa. And I wouldn't even come to the house because I know once I hit the house, I'm not
losing money.
I'm not going anywhere. So I didn't even bother even going by the house, especially living in Florida. I just come in and out real quick, but
that's kind of what I was saying. If I had the time, I'd stop and have dinner with the boys or whatever. But, a lot of times, you're on a tighter run or whatever. Or there were times that I could have squeezed it in, but, or if I was empty but I needed money. I needed to, back myself up for repairs or whatever. So I'd keep going and, trying to build something. let's face it, that's just as part of this industry. There are sacrifices that we have to make as a truck driver.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
I shot you a text, Russell.
If you don't have, even if you don't have kids, the sacrifice is the time. You're sacrificing your time.
Yeah, I'm just
money.
the opposite.
And I think the older you get, you realize that time is the true currency.
Yeah.
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 What's it worth to you?
Go ahead,
I'm just
Jim.
the opposite of that. Because, see, my wife passed like 5 years ago. And prior to that, I sacrificed my truck to be with her during her medical problems. And it took me 3 to 4 years. And then finally I had to bail on that truck, and I got this one. And now I'm back into good shape again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't really have any sacrifices like you guys are talking about because I have no family per se of my own outside of, I don't have any kids, and
Right.
I don't have a wife or any girlfriend even right now.
So there's still sacrifices you made. Yeah, there's
Well,
still,
he already
whether you
made
have kids
those.
or not. Yeah, you make them, and he's still making them now. He's sacrificing his time for money, whether he,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're your family now, Jim.
I have a
That's
brother
right.
in Texas, and the rest of it's all
And that's true. Jim does, his mom's in Iowa, his brother's in Texas. You sacrificed the time away from them, and when your wife was here and she was sick, that you still had to work at times, and you sacrificed a lot going through all that, Jim. So it definitely was a sacrifice, and
at that time it was,
yeah.
And I'd like to say one thing.
Yeah.
Thank you to Meadlark. They helped me through a lot of it. Yeah.
They've been good to us as a fleet. I'm proud to be a Meadlark agent. It's not always perfect anywhere, but for us, it's been really good. It's a great partnership, and we very much so take care of them, and they take care of us. So I can speak
It is
for
a family.
my whole office. We do feel that way too. It's a family. And there are sacrifices, just like we're talking about. There's sacrifices you make for your family. Look, man, it's not perfect anywhere, but there's things that I wish were a little different. Every now and then, things pop up and you wish they're different. But would I change how we do business and who we're partnered with over little things? No, I'd rather just sacrifice a few little things and keep moving forward with building the relationships that we build or that we've built. So. But anyway,
like I said, we're family. Sometimes you want to punch your brother or sister in the mouth.
That's right.
You're still family.
Right. That's right. Also, it's Evelyn, Ray's oldest daughter's 24, and I know his family really well. Ray, she goes to A&M, right?
Yeah, she's going to the Texas A&M
Yeah,
up there by where Jim Mackey lives in College Station.
College Station, yeah. She's been going there for
and my
2-3 years now.
18-year-old is going to the Texas A&M here in San Antonio.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
yeah. Well, happy birthday, Evelyn.
Yes, I got two.
For me and my family, we Matthew, Tina, we all know Evelyn. So, and yeah, she's going to get a nice degree from Texas A&M. And hopefully that we can beat them in football when they get good.
Well, they did beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So.
They did, yeah. Yep. That's it. Matter of fact, when's the last time Alabama lost, Joel, before that?
Like 2018? I don't know.
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
30, it was 30 games is what it was.
Was it? Yeah. And A&M beat them. But anyway, happy birthday, Evelyn. She's made some sacrifices too, from not seeing her dad when he was out there building this business. And yeah, so we all do in life. So Doty, what have you been doing with some of your guys? You had some stuff you wanted to go over with us?
I was just going to touch on a few things and probably incorporate this and
Yeah.
whatever else you guys want to talk about. But I was going to, for a while there, I go over the guys with, the rate per mile. And, for the most part, our whole fleet does well, rate per mile wise. But there's kind of that tipping point where it's the rate per mile versus your gross revenue and kind of rate per day, right? Because going back to what we were talking about last week about Lee deadheading all the way from Colorado back to LA, grabbing a load and going back.
Right.
I mean, you saw that one week he did, what was it, 11 grand or something,
Yeah.
11.5, but his
we all saw
rate per
that.
mile was below $3 a mile, or right there at it, where before he was, $3.50, $4 a mile on all miles, but grossing about, $8 grand a week or something like that. So there's, he's bringing home more money, but less per mile. So there's that balance. And I think right now I'm noticing longer wait times, like for the guys that I was running short for that, the real good money and stuff.
That's a really good point, Mike, because I do
screwed because they're getting held up.
Yeah, I do run some stuff short during the week. We've always talked about that. But man, if you get hung up on a short load, with a delivery or pickup, it can really throw a wrench into things, and it makes a really good short, load that pays really well. It can make it look
terrible.
Ugly. Yeah,
terrible. Yeah, you can get $1,200 on 100 miles, 150 miles or something, but then they take all day to load or unload you. You're like,
was it worth it?
There went, yeah. So really, so your rate per mile. So going back to rate per mile versus rate per day, something like that. Your rate per mile might be, 100. Let's say you get $1,000 on 100 miles. Your rate per mile might be $10 a mile, but it took
2 days
between the loading and unloading 2 days, right? So your per day rate is only $500 per day. You're never going to make it like that. You're never going to.
It can't be that. And I used to run, Mike, like that. I changed at times. I would try and hit some short stuff during the week when I was a driver. But for the most part, and Joel knows, I liked long because one thing I recognized really early on, and Nate, Kevin, Ray, you guys, Jim, if you're hitting too many docks in a week, something's bound to happen. You're going to get hung up somewhere. Something's going to get screwed up, and it throws a wrench. But if you're running 2,500 miles across the country, you're smooth sailing for 4 days. You know what I mean? You got no worries unless you have a breakdown or something. But you got no worries. You can start when you want. You do your pre-trip, get out early, get into park early. It goes smooth. And then 4 or 5 days, you're only hitting a couple docks a week. It does go smooth that way.
I mean,
yeah, I like 1,000-mile loads for 2 days.
Yeah, those two. Less docks.
And I was running, running my guys short and I'm starting to run them a little bit longer because I was getting, the great rate per mile. But again, going back to per mile per day, your gross revenue, you got to balance it all out and figure out what works best because. Yeah, like you said, bumping these docks, the more you bump, the more, something's bound to happen.
Kevin, you and Nate, for the most part, you guys are flatbed. So for the most part, your stuff's first come, first serve. You pull up, you might have to get in line, right? But for the most part, you don't get held up too often.
No, not too often, but you run into instances like today where I picked up at Dundell, over here in Maryland, and I got a load of tractors, and 2 of the tractors wouldn't start. So they couldn't load me right away. They had to bring a technician over from New Holland and actually start them off because they weren't allowed to touch them mechanically. So
because they're brand new, so they're under warranty.
Yeah.
So they need to have a technician.
Yeah, and I literally sat there for 4 hours waiting on the technician to show up just to load the last 2 tractors for me. So.
Yeah. Now that doesn't happen too often, I wouldn't think, though, Nate, right?
No, not for the most part. Flatbed, you just show up, load or unload. It's pretty much
unless
as fast as you can chain, or unless it's a crane appointment. Then
are you guys noticing any longer times on the flatbed side?
Not really.
No. It's like
really.
Because most of your flatbed stuff is just first come, first serve. So you get in line when you get there, and most guys start doing unsecuring their load when they're in line, and you get ready. And then when you pull up, you take the last bits of securement off, and then off it goes, and off you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was gonna say when I pulled that load over there at Jesse's yesterday and delivered it,
Yeah.
sitting over there in that dock, I didn't know what I was gonna do with myself for 4 hours while I was sitting there.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
you've
it
been
was.
out of a
I
reefer
was
for
so
a while.
yeah. I was so used to just get it off and go. I didn't quite know what to do just sitting there.
And so check it out, because I don't know if well, everybody in the office here knows, but thanks, Kevin, for handling that for us. So what happened was Jesse, I don't remember what caused him to be late. It wasn't him. I think it was the loading time when he got loaded up north, and he went down to Zebulon. Is that how you say it?
Zebulon.
Yeah, Zebulon.
Zebulon, North Carolina, and he missed his appointment, and that was last week on, I don't know, Friday. So they didn't have an appointment till Tuesday morning. Actually, they told us Wednesday, and I'm like, we're it stinks, because what are you gonna do? But Kevin was at home and he had to go to the dentist, so immediately I thought, let me see what Kevin's up to this weekend, because I think he's staying home. And so I called Kevin. I said, when you plan on coming out? He goes, well, I was going to come out Monday, but I couldn't get an appointment Friday, so I'm probably going to come out after that. And I said, oh, well, can you do me a favor? and I threw you a few bones for it. I appreciated it. He would have done it for free. I know that. But he hung on to the reefer. He babysat it. And Jesse took it to him and made sure he was right by his house. He took it to him and made sure the tank was full. And then Kevin went and delivered it for us this morning. Meanwhile, we put Jesse in the closest trailer we could find, which was, I don't know, 4 hours or 5 hours away, something like that. Maybe a little further. But we went and picked up a vented van. And we've been running, so we got to go back and switch out. But it didn't hold up Jesse, and it didn't hold up Kevin. It just worked out good where it was at. And that's unfortunate when you go into you're an hour late on something and they kick you out a week. It's just it's unfortunate.
I know, and then
it
not
bites me,
and
man.
especially on a reefer, and then they want their product now, and it's like an hour late. I understand appointment times. I think I wish more places were just first come first serve, and they just took
I
it
do
as
too.
it came. But
I do too.
I'm not on that side of it, so I'd like to know
right.
what goes on that, the logistics side of that. What's the difference between first come first serve and appointment times? But
I'm with you.
Kicking an appointment out a week, man, that's rough.
That's hard. And when we have Ian, so we have another situation that, me and you, we stepped in with Greg. Listen to this one, Mike. Go ahead and tell him.
Oh yeah, so he had missed his appointment by less than an hour at a Kroger. Yes, I will go ahead and say their name because they are terrible.
And it's all the way across the country. Things happen.
This is in Tolleson, Arizona. If you ever have an appointment for a Kroger in Tolleson, Arizona, cancel your load. Cancel your load. Do not go there.
Yeah.
He had missed his appointment last Wednesday. Tuesday.
And this is a guy that's always on time. He's notorious for being on time or before. Something, things happen when you're going all the way across the country, and he couldn't hit it.
And as of now, Kroger still has not got us a new appointment.
Now, it is a dry load, so
it's a dry load.
It's been a week.
We went ahead and dropped it. They still have not given us a new appointment. The only way that this is going to change is if people in mass start canceling and refusing
to take their loads.
Whether it's Kroger, Target, Walmart, Lowe's, any of these huge distribution centers that will totally bend over a driver if you're late. Dollar General as well. Drivers, the only way something's going to get done is if you guys do something or there is regulation by the federal government.
So here's what we did. Ian found, and Zach, they made a bunch of calls.
Zach found it.
Right around the corner from the Kroger distribution center in Arizona, in Tolleson, Phoenix area. They found a trucking company literally around the corner that charged us $100 a week to throw the trailer in there, a secured lot.
We asked if they would deliver it because they do offer that service, but they will not do it
They
for
won't
Kroger,
do it to Kroger.
because they have had such bad luck
Yeah.
there. So,
So-
I mean, Kroger, get your stuff together.
Together.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
this is awful. You are screwing over drivers, but obviously you don't care.
So we dropped it in there. Berkey, this was Berkey's load. So we were, we're always in communication with him. He was trying, everybody's trying. But at the end of the day, I mean, Greg sat for a couple days waiting, and then finally Ian and I were like, we got to go. Unfortunately, we didn't have a trailer out there we just don't have any trailers out there on the West Coast sitting normally. So we decided he's 300 miles from SoCal. The rates are great. So we started looking for a power only in SoCal. And the cool thing is we have several drivers. Mark Chavez lives out there. Jordan Yates lives out there. We got guys that are always in that area, and we got reefers going out there. We could, once we know the appointment, we can drop someone in there to go grab it and deliver it. It's right around the block. So we sent, and what did we get? 8,400 on
coming back out.
Yeah, power
to
only
Florida.
to Orlando. 8,400 on 2,400 miles. I think it was 2,400 miles. So he had to deadhead 300 miles to go get it. But guess what? That was his whole week. He was able to get that and get it delivered, and he had a nice week. His other load's still not delivered, but there's no appointment yet, right?
Yeah, no, we still do not have an appointment. They still are unable to
waiting.
get us one.
But
which is just, I mean, it's insane. I mean, they have hijacked our trailer, and we're taking the brunt of it just because someone was less than an hour late.
So it's $100 for the first week. We're
unacceptable.
We're going into week 2 now. So that's going to be $200 there, and then the trailer rent roughly a couple $100 a week. So Berkey's going to have to pick that up because Ian told him, we're not going to. I mean, I know we were an hour late, but come on, this is getting into 2 weeks. Which that's one thing that I really like about working with people that like Berkey. You work with someone in a company like Schneider, that's our a partner carrier with us. They will stand with you. I mean, they're going to do everything they can to help us. So.
But what I would like to see
on the other side, Ian, our driver didn't get stung.
Yeah.
And he still had a nice week, 8,400 on, even with the dead, had 2,700 miles. So.
Hey, Russ.
Yeah, I'd like to add something too to that if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm against government regulation on anything, especially in the trucking industry.
Except
but
dock
if we had
workers.
enough, yeah, right. But if we have enough truckers, just we know that like Kroger's always been an issue. Every time I've been to one, it's never been an easy in and out. What I do is I just refuse it, and that's part of the reason why. You remember I used to be on a reefer, and I just decided, it's not for me, because the delays. You're late. If you get held up at the shipper doesn't care if you're late at the receiver. So they're gonna, and it's on you. Ultimately, it's on you. And I've been to receiving distributions, and hey, you're late 2 minutes. All right, so then they offload you, and then they don't tell you nothing, and then they're asking for an additional $150 for being late.
That's crazy.
And that comes out of your pocket because I mean, obviously, the broker's going to get out of that one too. They're not going to want to pay that, but.
We've all been there. We've all seen this, and I'm with you too, Ray. Nobody likes regulations, but Joel walks around this office all the time saying somebody needs to regulate these dock workers and holding us up and detaining our drivers.
That's where the robots need to be at.
And making our pre-plans fall apart. And
we need to figure out some more ways
we definitely
to
need a top
get
10
the message
worst.
heard.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
like from the beginning, the contracts, when the broker gets the customer, it needs to be put in the contract. Detention needs to be at least $100 an hour, or if not more. If detention's set at that with the customers from the beginning, they're going to get you offloaded quicker because they're not going to want to pay that.
Well, there are
much
some
detention.
contracts and customers that it is that high. Broker's not going to tell you that.
A lot of those places that
But-
is notorious for delaying you and everything, they put it right in the confirmation that only $25 an hour and the first 4 hours are free.
Yeah, well, that's totally correct.
Well, see, and that's why whenever I come home, you guys become familiar with HEB, right? They're the biggest.
They're very bad
distribution
as well.
here in Texas. Yeah, and they're getting better, but they're still pretty bad.
They're pretty bad.
unless it's convenient for me to come home, every time Ian offers me a load, he'll say, I got a load going to Texas. Is it HEB? Isn't that always the...
Yeah, he doesn't want
Whataburger.
It's a Whataburger.
And you know, on our
Sounds
end
good.
too, as
Whataburger.
dispatchers, going back to what Jim said, when you see on that Raycon 4 hours free, you know, if you do happen to take one of those loads, 4 hours free, $25 an hour, you can negotiate with that broker if he has any pull to put on that Raycon a higher, you know, $150 an hour after 2 hours. If they want you to, if they want the load moved, they'll put that on the Raycon.
Right.
Now they might say, I can't do that. I don't have the authority. I got to get it approved, whatever.
And you might need that load. You might need it. You know what I mean? You can be in a rock and a hard place where I need this load. There's not much in this lane. I need it. You know, and that's part of it too. But yeah, detention is a problem.
Yeah, and,
everybody
and these
that
major corporations
they try and get
totally
out of,
crooks.
Guaranteed, they're
screwing
collecting.
everybody.
Guarantee you, these big brokerage houses that don't have assets like we do, trucks like we do, they're collecting. The big ones, they're collecting on a detention and layover and everything on every load, and then they want to fight with you to pay it when you're detained. So I mean, it happens.
Because think how easy profit that is. If it's in the contract, I think, because I know like our customer loads, our tire loads, I think they might be 50 or 75 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, the
the
contract rate for detention is higher than what they usually it's $35 an hour on the brokerage side. But,
and these brokers are all, you know, the ones that you don't work with all the time. The ones we work with all the time, you tell them our time, you know, and they get it over.
they
to
take
us.
care
But
of you. They want your truck.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
they want
some
the
of them are-
relationship.
Totally
Some of
corrupt
them, though,
logistics.
We gotta.
They will fight
yeah.
you tooth and nail.
Yeah.
We got to get it approved from the receiver. You know, we got to get it approved from the customer.
that's-
and
Yeah,
a
and
week
unless
later,
you bother them every 5 minutes, calling them,
It shouldn't
can
be
I
that
speak
hard.
to your manager? Can I get this person involved? You shouldn't have to jump
I know.
through these hoops.
I've,
And drivers, just so you know, drivers listening and stuff. I know Jim, Nate, Kevin, and Ray know this. You know, we're in here. Sometimes I see Ian sending. It says third request, and he's asking for detention. Fourth request,
Fifth.
and he's tagged all of us in it. And he's tagged everybody.
I'm
in their
tagging everybody I can from their company from the past few months of email.
drivers,
everybody.
You know, there is something going on when you're detained. We're asking for it, and we're relentless at it. It just, you know, it is a battle. It's not one that we win every time. So, and we try.
Speaking of which, Ian, did you get my detention on the California load?
I'll have to check into that.
And then also too,
he's
I
waiting on the
mean,
customer.
He needs permission.
Also too, I mean, Mike might know of the company because he lived in Florida, but C. Hain Herndon's the first place I ever got a truck from, and they were based right outside of Orlando, and they had a contract with Publix down there out of Lakeland, and I would go there, and it was all dry goods. I would go there and sit in the dock door for 10 hours, and their contract with Publix stated that we didn't receive detention time. We literally sat there for 10 hours for free. And every time I always went there, every time it was, I sat there for at least 7 to 10 hours.
And then they put stuff back on your trailer.
Well, there's no incentive for them to move at that point, and they'll just get to it when they get to it. There's no incentive for them to get it unloaded quick.
Yeah,
If
they
don't have
need to
pay
have
anything.
a reason to unload quickly.
And speaking of the supply chain, you know, Ian's getting ready to go over that and show us what's going on in the ports this week. But that's, you know, our supply chain is already, I'm not going to say broken, but it is bottlenecked bad. We all know that. We talk about it every week. And that's part of it. The companies that are receiving or shipping, you know, they got to take some responsibility on the time that your truck is detained or laid over.
And they just won't. They won't.
Well, I said that before, and this is just a guesstimate, but I'm guessing probably 15% of trucks, 10 to 15% of trucks are taken off the road every day just due to detention.
Well, Ian, do you remember?
I don't know that figure for sure. I'm just
I can
saying,
tell
I
you,
bet.
Ian brought that up several weeks back, maybe a month or so ago on the show. I forget what it was, like $400 million a year
I forget.
You remember though, there was a huge number.
Yeah,
it costs the trucking companies because of detention and layover.
I mean,
just burnt time.
Companies, carriers, and drivers are being robbed. I mean, really. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just as much as wage theft. I mean, and something's got to be done. I would love to see next time someone's refused at a Kroger, you park your truck in front of their gate and tell them you're not moving until, and let's see how fast they get you unloaded. That gets me fired up. Let's figure out as many malicious or non-malicious things we can do to get the message across. I mean,
I'm not taking any Kroger loads.
Yeah, refuse them. Refuse them.
Yeah, I'm not.
So speaking of that bottlenecking, Ian, let's see. Oh, I see your computer screen's all lit up with ships at anchor.
I got something before that.
Okay, let's see what's going on in the world of trucking news.
This was the Georgia violation of the week. Can you guys spot the violation?
All right, let me look at this.
The landing gear?
Yeah, black and
Oh,
strap.
the landing gear. No, what's wrong with this? It looks
no
like
strap.
Looks good to me.
I
actually got this one.
Yeah, Coom got this one.
I don't see any. Oh, I don't see any straps.
I don't think it's nailed down to the deck.
So that's what it is. No, they didn't. Wow, you gotta have some. Nate and Kevin, isn't it every 5 feet you gotta have a piece of securement?
Depends on the weight.
They used dental floss actually.
Oh,
and
fishing wire.
Fishing wire. So this new 5G
So they
straps.
just put some pallets on there, and this driver decided to go.
I guess so. So
what happened?
Those are the brand new invisible straps.
I don't have all the information. All I know is that they got in a little bit of trouble. So yeah.
It's like it's just going right down the road. It ain't gonna go nowhere. He did the
I would
old.
like to know how far he got.
He did the old. He
Right.
put his hand on the pallet and tried to push it a little bit. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know,
They don't get
you
a
know
strap
how
in a dry van. Why do I get a strap?
you know how when you load something, no matter whether it's like 10 pounds or 10,000 pounds, and you do that, you kind of push it with your hand, like 10,000 pounds is gonna move, like you're gonna be able to check
Right.
that with just your hand. Yeah, it's just going down the road. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, next time you go down the road with a big old coil on your flatbed, just don't chain it down either.
Yeah.
Well, we saw what happens.
Yeah, and that coil rolled.
Yeah, somebody already tried that.
At one of my old jobs, we had to, like, every summer we had to transport paper around the school district. So we had these giant pallets of paper, and we would put them on the back of truck beds and just pickup trucks and drive them to their place. And you had to be obviously really careful. We never used straps. Totally so dangerous. And
Yes.
I watched one of my coworkers one time take a turn, and I watched the whole skid just tip over, but it went back.
Yeah.
Just because he was never a safe driver. He didn't. And it would have been all over Market Avenue. It was,
Well, that happened to me on the Joel was driving. I think I mentioned this on the show before in Kansas City. He came around. There was a ramp that to get on from one highway to the other, and I was asleep in bed, and I felt the truck go up on 9 wheels, and I could tell, and then lay back down. But I looked up front, and Joel was on the steering wheel, white knuckled, and I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "Nothing, nothing at all."
The sheets were brown. And
Are you talking about that time we didn't do the
He was
pre-trip?
driving. Yeah. No, I didn't. Me and Joel. We have a lot of stories, but anyway, Ian, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and hop into the ports here. So here is the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach. I actually started to fall asleep while counting these. There are so many. I got it to about, I think, 99, and my eyes closed. So it is totally bottlenecked down there still. They had the ports open for 24 hours a day, but now they are stopping that because
Nowhere to put the stuff.
yeah, the warehouses now cannot keep up. Kroger. So I'm going to blame them again. There's some other things
I
about the
was
port
reading
of
an article
Mm-hmm.
about that where they are talking to the people about not getting their product out of the ports and fining them because it's only supposed to be like $100 a day
Yeah.
or a week or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And
It's,
they're
remember that
talking
too.
about raising that up to where they will get them out.
Some of them, they are being charged $100 a day recurring, so it just keeps adding on. Like, your second day is gonna be $200, third day is $300. There are tons of fines going on out there, and that's also what's playing into the people are dropping. I think I spoke about this before. But people are dropping empty and loaded containers randomly on the streets of Los Angeles. In empty parking spots they're finding. If they will drop a trailer there, they will drop just a container there even without a chassis on the road. And because of the fines for doing that, the parking fines are cheaper than the port fines.
Maybe if you load them heavier, that'll solve the problem.
Well, maybe they're getting to something here. Maybe the containers that are going to be all over Los Angeles now will help solve the homeless problem. And they can use those.
There we go.
Rather than tents on the sidewalk.
There'll be a bunch of little tiny homes.
Yeah,
all over the place.
Mike, you're too smart for your own good, man.
I'm telling you. Look ahead, man. Look at the big picture. Los Angeles just solved their homeless problem just by screwing up the port stuff.
What happens if the boat captain runs out of fuel?
But yeah, so we can look at some of these other ports too. We can get out of Los Angeles a little bit. The Bay Area is getting a little packed. They haven't had as many. We'll get up to I'm guessing is this? This must be the Portland area. They have quite a few ships waiting to get in. It looks like they're all coming down here to Portland, and then Seattle. Seattle's got quite a few. Mike, has there been a lot about container ships in Florida on the news down there?
I haven't seen any more news.
I saw
about
some
it.
on Twitter. People were bragging like, "Oh, DeSantis has opened up the ports and whatnot."
Yeah, I think. I mean, he put the offer out there, but I don't think. I don't know. I know Tampa Port's not very big, so I don't know what they could handle. Miami and
I don't really see. Yeah, I don't see too much green there.
No. I mean, in the entire state, like last week when I heard some news about it. Yeah.
Well, and it's not just that. Coming all the way, you can't really route ships from California to Florida. You know what I mean? By the time you do that, that's
it's a whole extra week and a half, I think.
Panama Canal.
And you got the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal can only handle.
They already have enough traffic going through there, and
only
they can't
ships
handle.
are going to be able to make it.
Yeah, and they can't handle the size, right, Ian?
There's a lot of ships that are just built for going from China to the West Coast that are too big to fit through the Panama Canal. Yeah, they are too wide.
I heard. Are they like gonna route some people or some ships to Cleveland
through the St. Lawrence Seaway?
I heard that they were gonna relieve some pressure by sending them to Cleveland.
That'd be a little difficult.
I didn't hear that, but I wasn't really reading about that this week. But if you look on that map, Ian, you can see the St. Lawrence Seaway does run right into Lake Erie.
Yeah, but that's it. The Great Lakes is almost
hard to
bulk.
get to.
It's almost all bulk ships anyways.
We got a lot of ports in
containers
too.
Oh yeah, but you guys are mostly geared for fuel, crude oil coming in.
Yep.
Like if I go and I turn on the ship type, we go over to tankers. See,
okay.
Yeah. You guys are booming with.
And
the,
there
tankers.
again, Ray. There again, you're landlocked in the Gulf because the West Coast big container ships. Like Ian was saying, you got to go down and through the Panama Canal and then up, and that probably a week. Ian, from the West Coast.
I think it's like a week and a half to 2 weeks
just to get into the up into the Gulf. So that doesn't work either.
We need to keep our eye on Savannah. It is still heating up. There's more ships even this week than last week. Just a few more. So.
Yeah, and all of these rates, all of the fees, everything is going to translate into our economy's prices going up on everything.
Well, it has to. I mean, it has to. We're the ones that are buying it.
Yeah,
and it has already started. Look at the price of fuel.
Yeah,
Look at what it cost me for a motor.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then last thing I want to really touch on with the ports is because there is so much containers and just freight going through Los Angeles right now. A lot of it is being unaccounted for when it comes to security. This was, I think it was on NBC or whatever it was in Los Angeles. Containers are being
Robbed?
robbed while it's moving or while it's sitting. And you can just see these are all cardboard boxes that have been gone through and emptied, just laying
thrown
out
out?
here. Thousands and thousands and thousands. I'm trying to think of the report that I saw. It was like there's been over $5 million in theft in just the third quarter in Los Angeles when it comes to cargo.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot.
It's a big mess.
They were even showing video of some FedEx containers, with packages that were just wide open on the train while it's still moving. And Union Pacific is responsible for their own security, and obviously they just can't keep up.
Wow.
People are just taking whatever they want. It was happening in broad daylight.
You don't think about this, but it's a reality, I guess. I mean, when you see stuff like this, that when you throw it up there.
Yeah, and a lot of these
Didn't think about
lines
that.
run next to homeless camps too. So that's another thing that's attributing. So, this is something I think you guys probably never thought of. America has its first remote driver job open. So, y'all want to sit at a desk all day? This is your chance.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
So
They're having remote driver positions starting.
is that like a? So that's like a. Obviously, that's not a tractor trailer. I can't see it very well.
Yeah, this is more of like a concept picture, but
They have a video too of like how the driver will work on the
Those are
computer.
repeats.
but what they're looking at is having possibly one driver keep an eye on several vehicles at a time, and he will monitor them from a desk.
Oh,
and
so
make
you're
sure.
not in the vehicle.
So he's-
Yeah, no.
he's
You were in
monitoring.
an office.
You're like in a like a panel. Of
Yeah, you'd maybe
monitors.
have multi-monitors,
Oh, wow.
and you can keep an eye on what's going on, and if you need to intervene for whatever reason, you can just plug right in and probably have
So
control.
where's
of-
that at?
This is a company from Sweden called Einride.
Say that again.
Sweden. And they're starting here in the U.S. So something to keep an eye out for.
Kumar, get us some more information on that this week, and
will.
maybe throw it up on our social media or on our page.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We always have. So speaking of strapping bad, this was up in Alberta, Canada. A driver had not properly secured his load, and dropped.
We can't see it.
Oh.
So what was happening with that school bus before we had our technical difficulties? The building got struck by lightning.
Zeus.
Sorry, I almost sneezed there. Up in Barhead, Alberta, way up there in Canada, where it's probably very snowy now.
Can you move that? Do you see that or something?
Oh, yep.
I'm
Got
not
it.
sure if
Sorry.
on a show that they can see it.
No. Anyways, another thing we're looking at when it comes to securing your loads this episode, a logging truck had not properly secured their load and lost some of his freight, and it ended up hitting a active full school bus. There was more than 20 students on.
Wow. Were they okay?
One student was taken to the hospital with a concussion, but
Man,
looks
that's
like everyone.
a story. I'm glad they're all okay though, but that's a
Man.
story. Yeah, I got hit by a log. Came off a truck.
Yeah, that's some Final Destination.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So the logger, I see those trucks, man. They just
They're
got
scary.
logs piled in there, no straps.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Especially down there by you guys, Kevin and Nate in North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I see those, man.
Yeah.
I'm zipping around them.
Yeah, yeah.
It
They're
was
on
the
as
same
fast
way
as
living in West Virginia. I mean, they go, they don't care.
Yeah, I mean they're rarely hitting a state or federal highway.
And then last thing, potato truck had caught on fire. This is actually a pretty interesting story. Started out with the driver of this truck was going through. It was a parking lot or some kind of a rest area, and was zipping through there recklessly. Some people had called the state troopers on them, and he had clipped the side of somebody else's truck. Police tried to catch up with this guy. He ran, kept running. They eventually had to get the spike strips out, and when they did, somehow. By that time, he had just ran the crap out of his truck, and must have been overheating because it then lit on fire.
Smoked his brakes.
Yeah, something. And he tried to run away, but was caught very close to where he abandoned it.
Wow, that's a potato chip truck.
No, just regular potatoes. Just,
okay.
Now it's a French fry truck.
I was gonna say.
But they have. They believe that the suspect is under or was under the influence of drugs or alcohol at the time. So, yeah, fun stuff there over in
where was that?
Washington, Pasco.
Okay.
Yeah. So, on to questions with Kumar.
Questions with Kumar. Joel, you ready?
We're doing this. All
Yeah.
right. Kumar, you ready?
Yes. Speak
I'm
into
ready.
your mic a little more, Joel.
Speak into the mic.
There you go.
Good brain.
Okay, trucking questions with Kumar. So this week, Kumar lost, so he's got to pay the pot. Okay, so if you lose, it's gonna cost you
Okay.
$20. Yep, and if you tie with the guys, the drivers, and then you lose again, it's gonna cost you $40.
He's already lost to football. Cut him some slack.
All right,
First day on the job, here's $100. All right. Kumar.
Ray, Kevin, Nate, Jim Mackey, you guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Taxing you right off the bat.
Let's do it.
All right, Kumar.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Guys, all of you. If you arrive at your receiver and they tell you to fingerprint your load, what does that mean? Is it A, you must leave immediately? Is it B, you must hand unload yourself? Or C, you must register your load with the DOT? Or D, you must register with the FBI?
I'd have to say register with the FBI.
So he says register
Really?
with the
Was that
FBI.
an honest guess?
Jim
Is that
Mackey.
Well,
your
finger-
final
If
answer?
your constantly
Fingerprint.
tells you to fingerprint your load,
If they
what does
say
that
you
mean?
need to fingerprint your load, Jim Mackey, what are they talking about? When you get to your delivery,
Wait. Are we sure that that's Kumar's final answer?
he said it was.
That's
He's
my
confident.
final answer.
He's very confident.
And that's the final answer.
Mackey, Ray, any of you guys, you got this?
You never heard of it?
Fingerprint your load at your delivery.
I don't have any idea.
No Google.
I've never heard.
I don't
Well,
know.
I just made it up.
I've heard of it.
No, I'm kidding.
I've never heard of it, but I mean, if you're having to fingerprint a load, normally when you pick it up, you would be
So
already
would you-
registered or another.
There we go.
There
Somebody
you go. You
figured
must
out the
hand unload
the
yourself.
context clues there.
Yeah, Kumar's going to
okay.
call the FBI and let them know he's registering his load with them.
Tell them
I'm
that
here
they're
at
wrong.
my delivery.
It could be like some guns or something, you know? You don't know.
All right, Kumar, calling the FBI to register his load. Thanks,
Yeah.
Nate. Nice job. 1-0, my guys.
I know all
There we go.
Our guys are lining up to unload.
Here's a easy one for you, Kumar. Next.
All right, question 2. The two airlines that connect the tractor to the trailer are red and blue. The blue line is for what? Is it your A, emergency brakes? Is it B, your tractor brakes? C, your Jake brakes? Or D, your service brakes? What's the blue line for?
So what's the blue line? There's a red and blue line that go between the tractor and the trailer. That
Okay.
Connect.
And what did the red line do?
No, what is the blue line?
Or you're
Oh,
asking
you
what
didn't
the
say
red
that
line
one?
Oh, I'm asking the questions.
Emergency brakes.
Can you go over the
Tra-
answers one more
Yeah.
time?
Sir, is it A, emergency brakes? Is it B, tractor brakes? C, your Jake brake? Or D, your service brakes?
Your blue line. Most of them are red and blue. I mean, I've seen some.
I'll go with B. Tractor
Tractor
brakes.
Brakes. It's tractor brakes.
You said tractor brakes, B.
Yeah.
Jim, Nate, Kevin, Ray.
Be your service brakes.
Service brakes. That is
Service
correct.
brakes.
2-0, my guys.
Boy, vey.
Red,
Man.
emergency brake. Like a
Why we
rifle.
hired this guy?
So we could,
We hired
so
him.
we can find him.
You guys were worried. He's not gotten any better.
We needed someone to lose the football pool. No. 3, you're driving down the road when someone on the CB tells you your chicken coop has the big word out. What does that mean? Is it A, the wait station is open? Is it B, the wait station is closed? Is it C, there's a farm on the right? Or is it D, a baby chicken has been hatched?
On the
Your
CB,
chicken coop has the big word out. What is that?
I'd have to say way station is open.
She
he
says
says
open.
Way station says Kumar says way station's open. You guys, Ray, Jim Mackey, the chicken coop has the big word out. What does that mean? Way station open, way station closed, farm on the right.
Cop laid out on scales eating donuts.
Passed out.
Way
Or
station
baby.
closed.
That is correct. Way station is closed.
Oh.
3-0.
Hey,
my guy.
he was close.
What do we do?
this-
Should
this
Kumar
time.
pay double if he gets swept?
Yeah. Just like last week.
All right. Or
we
a
need
baby.
you tomorrow.
I-
Don't
A
quit.
baby chicken is hatched.
All right.
That was D.
Question 4. The 379 is a model of what popular Class 8 truck? Is it A, the Freightliner? Is it B, the Mack? Is it C, the Peterbilt? Or is it D, the Western Star? 25% chance, Coop.
They all know this one, Kumar. So you,
Oh boy.
Say the
So-
question again.
So the Model 379 is what popular Class 8 truck? Is it the Freightliner, the Mack, the Peterbilt, or the Western Star?
I'll go with Freightliner.
he says freight shaker.
I say Peterbilt.
That's right.
Of course. Peanut butter. Yeah. Peanut butter.
379 Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys should answer first, and then I answer.
All right.
That's
Question
not
5.
how
If
this
you don't
works,
get this
sir.
one.
If you don't get this one, you're fired on your first day.
All right.
I don't know this one.
All right, guys. Question 5. What kind of truck did Hollywood Hogan smash into the side of an ambulance carrying The Rock during a WWE Raw episode 2002? Was it the Kenworth? Was it the Peterbilt? Was it the International? Or was it the Volvo? And we will be sending this link out to all you drivers so you can.
Ian, are you pulling up a picture, Ian?
I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah. Just look up.
Yeah.
I'll go
My
with
laptop's dead.
Peterbilt.
Do any of the drivers have an idea? Is it?
Do any of you
I
know
don't
who Hollywood
really
Hogan
have
is?
an idea, but I'm
Ian,
just
pull
going to
the
say
picture up.
Volvo.
No, I
KW.
believe
The
it.
Kenworth.
Peterbilt and
It was a
International.
Freightliner, if I remember right. I think. I'm not sure. I really
19
don't.
years
Okay,
old.
I'm gonna-
It's wrong.
Remember.
Share the picture.
Hold
Let's
on,
see.
hold on. I'm
19.
Kumar got swept, but I think they lose on this one because none of them got it.
These questions are harder now.
Did anyone actually see that episode?
Here we
For
go.
Bonus.
Here we go.
Doty was pretty confident in his answer. I feel like he has.
Oh, he's got his IFTA too. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
legal.
there
He's
is
compliant.
the door there. If you guys can.
I can't
Yeah.
tell what.
I can tell
The Rock's
because
still in
look, that's a 660. See how the handlebar, Kevin? You see
Yeah.
how the handlebar?
But that doesn't look like a 660 windshield.
No.
I can show you the
It
rear
does.
Modified.
of the
Okay,
cab here.
no, you can
ready?
see where
No,
the
I'm
sleeper
blowing
bumps out. I think that's a 660.
See where
There
they
we
cut
go,
the side
here
of
we
the
go.
wall
There
and got
you
the
go.
rock out.
Is that the only picture we can see?
No, you know
There's
what
a picture
I know
of
what
the
it is.
front of it.
Yeah, there's
It's a
video, but I
It's a
don't think we
Freightliner
can
FLD.
put that on without getting
Copyright.
copyrighted.
It is a Kenworth, but I think it's a
It's a
660.
Kenworth, but it looks like a
I think you're
600.
right.
No,
might
yeah,
be.
it's a
Yeah,
Freightliner
660.
FLD.
Yeah, no, it is a
No,
Kenworth.
it's a K-dub.
And that wasn't an
Okay.
illegal move, by the way. Smash
Okay,
into it.
Kumar, can you put this question
Safety
on
went
tomorrow and
Yeah.
show a picture of the front of this truck so so we can see it?
Can we see what the rock looks like after he got out?
Cool.
You don't want to see that.
So Kumar makes his debut donation to the St. Jude's charity Christmas Fund, which is growing.
Bet you
First
it's the
time.
first
Don't
time
quit.
he ever come to work and had
It's
to pay.
Kumar's first day
And
on
I'm
the
already
Deaton
paying,
fleet,
paying
and he's
everybody.
already
owed
paying
money
money.
when
Going
he
back
left.
to his old job
we
tomorrow.
Go. Here we go. I can show you the
That
screenshot.
looks like a
Kumar, what'd they do to you at your old job
Yeah,
on the
that's
last
a
day? I heard.
That's a T6.
yeah 600.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made me inhale all the cleaning chemicals.
Oh my god.
gosh.
I heard the kids made a mess for you.
There we go. There is
Here's the scene.
right there.
Oh
Right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, can I talk about that on here?
How you cleaned up poop from the bathroom?
I didn't. I watched my coworker
I
do it.
gotta go see it.
So listen, guys, thanks for being on episode 30. It's been a fun ride.
Dirty 30.
Yeah, we sacrifice a lot. You guys sacrifice a lot
That's a rifle. Ian.
out there on the road. We appreciate it. And today's episode of Talkin Truckin is brought to you by Truckworx Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama. I got to talk to Brian today and catch up a little bit. Over the road apparel, work clothes for the modern day trucker. When do our new T-shirts come in, Zach?
Well, they asked me if we would want to do blue because they accidentally ordered blue, and I said we're not Michigan, so no. So
I think they're stuck
black.
on a container.
yeah.
Okay.
No, they're in.
All
They're in
right.
billing.
Prime Wellness and Performance in San Antonio, Texas. Louis Vasquez has placed Super Bowl 50 champion, and our friend Al's Quality Market in Barberton. The Gator drive-thru in Portage Lakes. Thanks to Mike for donating to the St. Jude's. And be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And congratulations on his first day. He made it through at Kumar.
Thank you.
Go Braves.
Go
Go
Browns.
Braves.
Ooh.
Go
Cowboys.
Guardians.
Oh,
Go
you
Cavaliers.
might have to go say Spiders because they have a
Yes, are you
lawsuit.
talking about the roller derby team?
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
Akron Zips. I played tonight. That was last night.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Be safe. Talk to you.